You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
We gotta do something. Absolutely. You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! Toga!
Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga!
Click, click, boom! I'm coming down on the stereo, Ribby on the radio. Click, click, boom!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh?
It's hashtag Chat Lives Matter Day right here on KLRNradio.com. That's right. It's the fastest usually 4 hours. Last few weeks we've been sneaking in about 3.5, 3 and 15. We've been kind of extending out the Robinson and Wright show for the last few cycles. We're going to do that one more time because Dan's not with me next week, and I'm trying to give you guys some extra me and Dan time because next week we'll probably do about a 90-minute off the rails since he won't be here. So there will not be an off the rails tonight. We are going to go commercial free for about 15 minutes around back at the top of the regular hour where AOTR drops. So we're going to hang out with you guys for a little bit of extra time to make up for the fact that he's bailing on me next week, going on vacation, and going to the drag races without me. I thought we were friends, man.
Come on out. You can go to the drag races.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. You'd have to pay for it all, and I'm broke. So, yeah, I know we're friends, but we're not that good of friends. So that's why I didn't say anything other than to give you a hard time. So anyway, how you doing?
I'll get you the ticket to the races. I ain't paying for your airfare, though.
Oh man, see, I thought we were. No, I'm just playing. I don't have the time off right now anyway because we're trying to go to Padre in September, and I gotta start banging some time so I can make sure we all get to go to CPAC next year. So I have to be a good boy for about 7 or 8 months, or I'm gonna have a problem later.
Yeah, that's the problem with how I don't know, like with your job, with a lot of state jobs and stuff like that, you have to work to accrue your time. I just get given the time at the beginning of the year. I know what I have, and that's what I have. I kind of like that.
Yeah, but it kind of sucks that I have to earn my time, but I also earn about 10 hours a paycheck, so I'm up to like 6 weeks of paid time off a year, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't get nearly that, but I know what I get, and typically, I'm taking all next week off, so I'm getting 9 days off. It'll be a nightmare when I get back, and I'll have that in the back of my head the whole time. So that little thing in the back of my head is going to be going, just wait till you get back to work. But I'll still enjoy myself. I need it.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. So see, that's actually, I'm kind of glad you brought this up because I don't take full vacations often because most of the time I'm usually using my pay time off to go to a convention or go work something here local or, just sit at the house because I work all the time. So the last time I took a real full vacation was around this same time last year. And what I found, which was really disturbing to me, is about halfway through, by like Wednesday or Thursday, I started thinking, oh my God, my vacation's almost over and I have to go back to work. Oh my God, my vacation's over and it's almost time for me to go back to work. And I was like, I can't even enjoy my vacation because halfway through I'm already dreading having to go back to work. I don't like that. I just don't.
I'm like that every Sunday.
Well, me too. Honestly, it's gotten pretty bad lately. I haven't really talked to anybody about it, but by so normally Friday night, Saturday night, I usually don't have any issues going to sleep. I'm usually I don't sleep much anyway, so honestly, most of the time I'm usually early for me is 11:30. So usually Friday, Saturdays, I'm in bed by about midnight. No issues. So like Sunday night, right? I'm like, oh my God, I have to go back to work tomorrow. So I start thinking about it because I'm like, I don't want to go to bed because as soon as I go to bed, I'm gonna have to get up and I have to go to work. So I binge watch a show on Netflix for like an extra 3 hours. Like I finish off the final season of it because I'm just like, I'm not going to bed yet. So then about midnight, which is kind of normal-ish for me, I usually get 6, sometimes anywhere between 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night because I'm usually working on something. So I put off doing a morning update. I was like, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and just try to go to bed a little bit early. I'm laying in bed till 3 a.m., dreading the fact that I'm about to have to go to work. So I finally get to sleep at 3. Alarm goes off at 6. And I'm just like, I don't know. My job is getting to the point where it's stressing me out. Or to the point where if it wasn't for the schedule and the paid holidays and all the accrued time off, I would have already found another job.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I've been with this company pretty much since it started, and I love it. I love the company, and I love what we've built. But we're going through one of those kind of stages, I guess you call it like a growing pain stage, where our business has jumped up. We didn't quite have the people to handle it. And it's going pretty smooth, and I should be happy. I got a nice quarterly bonus, but it's things like the help at the shop that puts the jobs together for the salesmen that we take to go out in the field, and stuff is just constantly wrong or not there. And I'm getting to the point where, I even had a good customer ask me if everything was okay because he could just tell by my body language that I was frustrated because something wasn't going right on a job. And that's just not me. So I'm thinking this 9 days off is going to be pretty therapeutic.
Well, I mean, not to mention the fact you're going to get to go smell, burning rubber and racing fuel.
Oh yeah, some nitromethane burn on Sunday morning.
Still not sure.
To the point where you can't breathe and your face turns red.
So I'm still not sure I like you very much anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I've always, around here, the only really anything remotely like a drag strip we have is Thunder Valley. So I've always been, when I was a kid, the big thing was at the state fairgrounds. They had the dirt racing track. Now that was fun to watch because it was the, I don't know. To me, it's kind of like what the difference between college football and professional football. At some point, you just realize that they're there to soak up as much money as they can. These guys were actually just out there trying to kill each other. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, dirt track. I mean, dirt track is huge here. I mean, I can travel in pretty much any direction from my house and be at a dirt track within 30 or 40 minutes. And dirt tracks are a blast.
That one of the candidates who ran for governor here was actually the mayor of Oklahoma City for like forever. And one of the reasons he lost was because he actually was one of the people that was single-handedly behind removing the dirt track from our fairgrounds. And there was a big group of dirt track racers that got together and basically started campaigning against him to vote for anybody but him because he killed dirt track racing in Oklahoma. It was like, ouch.
Oh, man.
Ouch.
Why would he do that? Why would he do that?
Because he's one of the...
I mean, I worked... One of the guys I work with, he runs dirt track. He just built another car. He had sold his car. I worked on his car almost every Saturday night for free, and I had to pay to get into the pits. I had to pay for a pit pass. That's how much fun it was. I paid to go work for him.
I don't know if I would have done that, but
it's so much fun.
Pretty cool. But yeah, so the big thing is, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually talking about Mayor Mick Cornett. He ran for governor here. He's actually fairly good mayor, but as far as Republicans go, he was more of a blue Republican. He was more for like gentrification, building the city up. He's done a lot. He got a lot of things started that brought us the Bricktown renovations and all these great things that have been really, really good for Oklahoma City. Really, really bad for conservative values. That's the district that just went blue for Kendra Horn this last voting section because we now have condos in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Condos. Meh.
Well, I mean, it's going... I know you've been to D.C. Obviously, you've been to CPAC and stuff. We really go into D.C. Like, my brother lived in a section of D.C. called Petworth, and it's going through serious gentrification right now. If you stay out of Southeast D.C., D.C. is, once again, becoming a really beautiful city, but it's also taking a toll in a lot of ways. I mean, the cost of living just keeps skyrocketing because as gentrification's happening, all of the property values are going through the roof. My brother had to get out. My brother and his wife were renting a 3-level row house, and it was not big. It was 3 levels, but the row houses aren't big. The floors are very small. And I think their rent, when they finally bought a place out in suburban Maryland, I think their rent was up to like $2,600 a month in a not really good area.
So, I mean, here's my thing with it. I like a lot of the things that he's done, that he did for Oklahoma City. But what I don't like is the fact that, you know, the heart of Oklahoma basically turned blue in this last election. Now, to be fair, Kendra Horn ran on a lot of the things that made her sound a lot more conservative. She said she wasn't always going to vote with Nancy Pelosi if they regain the House, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Problem is, she's done pretty much the opposite of everything that she said she was going to do, and she has pretty much voted lockstep with Nancy and the other socialist Democrats, even though Nancy likes to say, I'm not a socialist, there's only like 5 of those in the whole thing, and we don't like them. She still wants everything to be free, which is another way of saying socialism, because nothing is ever actually free, especially if the government's involved, but everybody likes to throw the word around free healthcare, free college. It's not free. It's taxpayer subsidized. Let's use the right words so people understand what it is that you're actually saying. But you can't do that because then it kills your narrative.
Well, and the thing is, you bring that up, the free college. God, I'm going to say it. Pocahontas came out this week and she said that what's becoming the main focus of her whole platform running for president is this, not just a loan debt forgiveness, but free college. It will never pass. She's pandering for votes.
Well, I mean,
it's all a vote pander. That's all it is. They know it will never pass, and then when it doesn't pass, then they can blame the mean old Republicans for it.
But yeah, so I'm going to steal something from Orty for the last hour because he put it better than I ever could. She's running on a platform of reparations. That's basically what it is. Vote for me and I'll make you a slave, but then give you free shit. Pardon my language. Right. This program contains harsh language and adult themes. Listener discretion may be advised.
No, that's. I mean, I haven't gotten to listen yet to Sam and Orty. But that is a fantastic way to put it right there.
Yeah, see,
fantastic.
I give everybody a hard time for not listening, but I kind of don't have a choice because I'm here. So,
yeah, I mean, I got to do the get home and cook dinner for everybody thing, and I will be listening to everybody else on my way in tomorrow, between jobs, on my way home, that kind of thing. So I still listen.
Oh no, I'm just giving you grief. I like the fact that so many people listen. Wednesday night is by far still becoming our best rated night. We typically average anywhere on a really amazing night, which oddly the last Robinson and Wright episode that we did kind of exploded. Well, the one previous to this last one. So all in, we had about 2,000 plays in between everybody's episodes on a Wednesday night, and I'm like. Yeah, we don't usually do that much traffic in a week, so one night is awesome. If we could get every night like that, it would rock. But speaking of which, we are actually trying to bring in more live content. We're actually talking to somebody that's going to start hopefully doing a live show on Thursday nights right before Jen and I open. So we're actually starting up. My goal is to make hashtag Chat Lives Matter every night at KLR Radio, not just Wednesday night. Just saying. Because unlike Sam, I actually like it when people come hang out. But I finally figured out why she can't do that.
We've got great content going on, not just on Wednesdays. I mean, you just about every night, and you and Jen on Tuesdays and Thursdays are spectacular. I mean, this thing's just going to explode, Rick.
Checks in the mail. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I mean, we really do have really good people that do shows here. unfortunately, because of scheduling, a lot of them right now are being done as what are considered drops. So with the way that we used to do things, anything that was dropped would eventually get carried and be played just like it was live radio. I am working like a madman to figure out how to get us back to that point so we can actually just have online 24 hours a day, 7-day-a-week content, even if it just, at some point things start over or there's other things that we just kind of start throwing in the rotations. Problem is, when something got changed behind the scenes, I can't find a way to do that without paying for yet another subscription service, and I'm not willing to do that right now. So I'm just we're not there yet. As much as I want to get there, we're just not to that point. Because what I want to do is just get us to the point where basically, we're back on things like TuneIn and iHeartRadio all the time as a stream, and people could just go there and listen from their car or wherever, and we're always on. We're not that back to that point yet, and every time I think we're getting close, something else falls apart or they change something. So at some point, I'm just going to pull the trigger and invest in one of these programs that I'm finding that will do it all for us, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. But I'm just not ready to do that yet. Anyway, enough behind the scenes shop talk stuff, because it's not like there's not plenty of other stuff we could talk about.
Oh yeah, there's plenty out there. Let's Well, obviously, the drum is still beating. For impeachment of Trump and everything else, yada yada yada. I almost don't even want to talk about it. I'm just kind of like, I'm over it.
Well, so is most of America. They did a poll not too long ago. The Russian collusion thing was like 12th out of 13 on everybody's list. They were more worried about things like the economy, in general. They were more worried about things that, honestly, I think Congress should be focusing on. They were worried about immigration. They were worried about the economy. But we've got all the Democrats still beating the drum about impeachment. Now we have Never Trump Republicans talking about how he's unpatriotic and un-American because he worked with the Russians. I seem to remember these same people laughing Mitt Romney off a stage when he made a comment about Russia being our number one geopolitical foe, and Obama quipping back that the 1980s wanted their foreign policy back. It's funny how all these people suddenly seem to agree with Mitt Romney about how dangerous Russia is now. But here's the thing, folks. I just want to bring you back to one particular phrase for everybody who's screaming impeachment and how Trump is evil. I want to remind you of one particular very salient phrase in the Mueller report. No legitimate prosecutor would bring charges for these things. None. Not I wouldn't do it. No sane prosecutor would prosecute for these things. So now that they know there's no there, they're trying to get him crucified in the court of public opinion. And for those of you that consider Trump a savior, no, I wasn't giving you a nod. It's just a term. He's not our savior. He's a man just like everybody else. We already had a savior. We only needed one. Okay, thanks, bye. But the point about that is that now the language is changing because they're all starting to beat the same drum. I've seen it over and over and over again all week. It's un-American. It's not patriotic. It's a slam on America that we have somebody that was assisted by the Russians to get into the White House, because they still can't live with the fact that Hillary Clinton, who had a team who rigged an election, lost, who then had a team who rigged an investigation, and they still lost. So, folks, I want you to do me a favor. Next time you're online, print off a copy of the Mueller report. You can find it. Hold it up to your ear. Guess what you're going to hear? Hillary losing all over again. Because that's where they are. They're all still stuck in 2016. It's 2019.
It's like, go. Do you remember a time years ago when the Weekly Standard was kind of the conservative go-to standard? You read the Weekly Standard. It was what you read as a conservative. In the last year, the Weekly Standard has folded, and Bill Kristol has tried to roll something into the Bulwark. Have you even bothered to look at Bill Kristol's timeline on Twitter lately?
Not unless somebody brings it into my feed, because Bill Kristol is a mess.
Can you believe he's the same Bill Kristol from 6-7 years ago? All over a man he doesn't like.
So here's my
Trump. Well, really quick.
Go ahead.
Trump is literally doing everything that Bill Kristol used to beat a drum about getting done, and now Kristol's against it just because it's Trump.
But so here's my thing, and this is something that I kind of figured out along the way. Because one of the reasons why Trump has been so vehement about all of this and just basically acting like an asshole, I mean, let's not pull any punches, that's basically how he's behaving, is because everybody that's trashing him now was friends with him up until 2016. They wanted to be around him. They wanted their picture taken with him. They wanted to be seen shaking his hand. He was the influencer. He was on people's shows if they were trying to launch them because he was a name everybody knew. And then all of a sudden, because he decided to run with an R behind his name, all of a sudden he's a pariah. What Trump has managed to do in so many ways is show us everything that we already knew. How long had the right been screaming that the mainstream media had been completely engulfed by the left and nobody was paying attention? Everybody that is paying attention knows that now because they don't hide their bias anymore. Bill Kristol, Tom Nichols, all of those folks that have been the whole, Reagan conservatives, blah, 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 yada, 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 most of them were doing it for clicks or for money. And
yeah, they're grifters. They're all grifters.
And that's the thing, folks. And again, this is mainly just to plug the station, not because I think we're better than everybody else. But one of the things that we will always do here is tell you what we think is the truth. That does mean that our views are going to change, just like my views have changed a little bit with Trump. I am still not, I've not bought a ticket for the Trump train. But unless something drastic changes, I will be pulling the lever in 2020 because what the hell alternative do I have? Bill Weld? Screw you. One of 23 billion Democrats? No, they're now basically calling for children to be aborted up until the last second that they come out of the birth canal. So no, I'm not. No, but that's the thing. All of these people that were telling me after the election, when I said, okay, guys, look, I get it. I was with you. I was never Trump until the day that he was elected. But now if you're still saying you want him to fail at all costs, you're basically saying you want the country to fail along with him. I didn't ever want Obama to fail. Why the hell would I want Donald Trump to fail? I might not have wanted Obama to fail, but I watched him do it over and over and over again and helplessly watched the country burn. To the point where we had riots going on in cities month after month after month for 8 years. When's the last time a city was on fire in this country?
When Obama was president.
Exactly. That's the thing.
I mean, now we've had some college campuses on fire, but those are all Obamaites setting the fire.
So after he was elected, right, or after Trump won the election, we had the safe spaces, the crying, the marches, the people throwing things through buildings, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But we haven't really had the reactions that we were getting under Obama pretty much every single month for 8 years. If you go back and you look at the newspapers and the online updates and everything else, you cannot find a time during his presidency that there wasn't a city on fire somewhere. And I'm not talking about the California wildfires. I'm talking about people actually deciding because they were pissed off they were going to burn their own damn town down. So you can't tell me that something hasn't fundamentally shifted when you've got one side ready to burn everything down.
Everybody conveniently seems to have forgotten about Ferguson.
It's because it doesn't fit anybody's narrative anymore.
Ferguson burned. I mean, Ferguson, it'll never be the same as it was. I mean, businesses got burned and just said, "Oh, I'm not rebuilding here." I mean, Ferguson was a big deal, and people forget about it. Ferguson, Baltimore, Charlotte. We had a riot here in Charlotte. And it was all over narrative. It was all over anytime a person of color was shot by a cop, It was under Obama's administration. It was racist cops picking out the black man, doing this, doing that. Why isn't it happening anymore? Because somebody was pushing the narrative.
And guess who it was?
And it was causing riots every time. People don't realize a cop does not carry a gun to protect you. A cop carries a gun to protect themselves. That's why they carry guns.
Yeah, well,
it's not to protect you. They're not going to be there on time to protect you. It's to protect themselves. When they come on a crime scene, that it's to protect themselves. And that's what they do, and they're going to. And it just amazed me, under the Obama administration, the criminal's life became more valuable than the police officer's life.
And the Democrats are still pushing that narrative. Bernie Sanders just the other day tweeted out that as far as he was concerned, the Boston bomber should be able to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got, I think it was Liz Warren talking about letting, it was either Liz Warren or Harris, I don't remember which one, talking about, convicted felon drug dealers should be allowed to vote.
Yeah, it was Harris, and she walked that back today.
She can walk it back all she wants. The internet's forever. We know what she meant. That's the thing.
Yep.
Look, guys, I am a big proponent of criminal justice reform. I don't talk about it much yet, but that's one of the things that I'm actually going to start doing a little bit more with America Off the Rails, is we're going to start focusing, because I do so many of those shows, we're going to start gearing probably days to different topics. So one of the days of the week will probably start being about criminal justice reform. I am a big proponent of that, because a lot of people don't know this, but Oklahoma per capita incarcerates more people than pretty much anywhere else on the planet. And we're only a state. So we need to do some major changes. And I do understand that, for certain things, maybe, once you can verify that you've been out of trouble for long enough, you've done your time, whatever, maybe we should see about giving some of those people some rights back, like voting. Because I don't necessarily agree with it always being a you screwed up once and you're forever not allowed to vote kind of thing. But I said this last night on Off the Rails. I also, and people used to call me racist for saying this, because, back when, when all of this started, you couldn't vote unless you owned property. Now, I still think there should be a version of that now. I don't necessarily think it should be tied to property ownership, because not everybody, not everybody wants to buy property anymore. Not everybody wants to be a homeowner. But I do think you should have to be self-sufficient before you're allowed to vote. Because if you're already on the government dole, I don't need you voting for more government programs. Because that's what you're going to do.
Absolutely. I mean, we hit on that on Harris and coming out and basically saying that, incarcerated criminals should be able to vote. Basically what she said. What she's doing is she's cleaning up skeletons, because she was a prosecutor, and she gets a lot of grief from the left over the fact that she was a prosecutor. So what she's trying to do is she's trying to clean that up. Again, all it is pandering for votes. The problem with people like her and with Liz Warren is they will go in any direction they think to get votes, even if it has nothing to do with how they really feel about something. It's all about votes. I'm not saying it doesn't happen on the right either, but I've really, it's kind of the one thing that kind of comes through with Trump. When he says he's going to do something, he's just going to do it. I mean, and that's all there is to it. I kind of like that, because when I listen to just about anybody else, I'm just like, you're full of it. You're just full of it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And honestly, again, that's one of the things that I've really come to like and respect about Donald Trump is, everybody says he hasn't done anything. Do me a favor. We're about to take a commercial break. While we're going to break, we'll be gone for about 2 minutes or so, not counting the bumpers. What I want you to do, this is homework. We're going to give you some homework, and we'll talk about it when we come back. I want you to Google Trump's presidency accomplishments. Tell me the number that you find. I bet you'll be surprised. I promise. This is the Robinson and Wright Show. We will be back here in just about 2 minutes or so. Don't go away. We'll be back before you know it.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new signature wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mix with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Welcome back. This is Robinson and Wright. I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. Can't believe we're already over halfway through the normal part of the show. Don't forget, we'll be going commercial free for about 15 at the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and call off the rails for the night because I forgot Dan's not going to be here next week, so I will probably just wind up doing an extended off the rails anyway. And so we've been extending out the Robinson and Wright show for the last few weeks, so we're going to give you guys a little bit extra stuff. I hope you had time to maybe get a drink and also do your homework, because if you looked like I did, you'll find there are several different articles, but there have been, in 20 months, this was from the Washington Examiner. This was datelined. Where was the date? October 12th, 2018. So this isn't even that recent. 289 accomplishments in just 20 months in an article datelined October 12th, 2018. So imagine if we could find an article about that today, how much higher that number would be. 289 accomplishments. So what that means, folks, is they're keeping tally of all of the things that Trump said on the campaign trail that he was going to try to do, the campaign promises that he made. And in one way or another, he's done his best to achieve 289 of the things that he said he was going to do as of October 12th, 2018. So the next time you hear somebody say, we don't even know a single thing Trump's done, show them that article. They won't read it. It won't matter, because it doesn't matter, because Orange Man bad. But that's why I'm starting to come around. I still wish he didn't spend quite so much time on Twitter, even though I understand it. I still really wish he had a staffer that would proofread his stuff. And I get it. I'm very fluent in Taiwanese. But when you have a president who puts out a tweet and misspells hamburger, that's just not good, because he's been being made fun of for months for that one. But anyway.
Oh, no, I just change it to, whenever we have them here, I just ask everybody how they want their hamburger. I just changed the name of it, so he's good.
You're like the third person that I've heard say that. We don't even say it the right way anymore. We just say it the way he typed it. That way he's covered. That's a little creepy. But okay.
A double cheeseburger is fantastic.
Okay. You're actually going to make me laugh. So
somebody said something this week too about talking about the Mueller report, and I think it might have actually been Stacy. I mean, and I think she kind of wrote about it. Is if you looking at everything that I haven't read the whole thing, but basically what she said is he's a businessman. Everything in there that they tried to get him on, he was just being a businessman. You know, business isn't always, peaches and cream. He's a businessman. That's how he ran things. That's how he runs things.
Well, yeah.
Like a businessman. And that's he's not your ordinary president. I mean, typically we get somebody that has essentially been in politics their whole life, or almost their whole life, their whole professional life. He was in politics for 2 minutes before he was nominated to be president of the United States, and then went on to get elected president of the United States. I mean, he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He didn't do anything illegal.
And he didn't. And
some of it might be questionable on a moral standpoint, maybe. Okay, but they're going after this collusion. Number one, collusion in itself is not illegal. And if you're going to tell me that Hillary and her staff didn't talk to Russians, come on now.
I mean, you want to talk about an actual administration colluding with Russians. We have him on video saying, "This is my last election. I'll have more flexibility." And the response from the Russian ambassador was, "I'll pass this along to Vladimir." That was not Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. It was not Donald Trump. We have open, if they're going to use this stupid word collusion, because look, folks, I've said this before, collusion in the context they're using it is not a crime. We've also had Chad Alexander from KOKC 95.3 FM, 1520 AM on America Off the Rails. He is a political consultant. It's what he does for a living. He's ran campaigns. He was J.C. Watt's campaign director. He said, "I don't care who they are or what accent they have. If somebody calls me up and says, 'Hey, I have dirt on your opponent. I would like to meet with you.' I don't care who they are. I'm going to meet with them. There's nothing illegal about me taking a meeting to see what they have and whether I can actually use it without getting in any trouble. There's nothing illegal about any of that." And that's the point. They still cannot get past the fact that Hillary Clinton lost to this guy, especially when they saw in emails that this was the guy she wanted, and she still lost. But I want to back up to something that you talked about just a second ago, because it was, the whole reaction of Trump being a businessman and not necessarily acting presidential. I want to bring your attention to a headline that showed up in my feed over and over again because I follow NBC News on Facebook. President Trump admitted his presidency was over before it started due to Mueller probe. That was the headline that kept showing up for hours one day, and they would rewrite the story in one way or the other just to put a little bit more spin on it. But here's the part that they left off. Donald Trump was livid and having a meltdown in his office. And he's telling people, "You guys don't understand. People that I know that understand this stuff have basically said that because they're bringing in a special prosecutor, my presidency is basically over before it started. We're going to be at a standstill that's going to be 2 years or more. I'm never going to be able to get anything done. I'm effed." He didn't admit to doing anything wrong. He didn't say he did anything criminal. He was saying people that understand how this stuff works have already basically told me that I'm screwed because they're bringing in a special prosecutor. But the media and everybody on the left see he's guilty. He knew it the day that we said we were going to bring a special prosecutor, that his presidency was over. Thank you for leaving the other 3 paragraphs to put it in context out, you jerks.
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, everything is clickbait, and people don't read the stories. They just read the headlines. And NBC, MSNBC, HuffPo, Vox, they all know that. They just put a headline out there. And even the story, I'm not even going to say the stories are up to par either, because they're not. But it's never the whole story. Everything's out of context. Everything these days is out of context. Read, people. Read, and read more than one article from more than one source. You have to.
See, so here's the thing about that, right? Because I'm reading through all these news articles and everything, and I have people, because I used to write for places like American Action News, and I actually used to run a local site here before it changed hands. But I kind of got out of the practice of writing, and because of that, I feel really, really rusty. So I have people that ask me all the time, why don't you write anymore? And I'm like, because I've never really done it other than just to do opinion pieces, and doing like actual news pieces is a little bit different, but I'm trying to learn how to do it. But at the same time, I don't really feel comfortable doing it. And then I read all these stories with typos and, things out of place and disjointed. And I'm like, why am I not putting my stuff out there? If anything, it's on par with crap being put out by NBC and CBS.
Yeah, that's you brought up a good point. That amazes me too. Some of the stuff I read, and yes, it's from, the funny thing is, I go back to my old radio station that I listened to up in Washington, D.C., DC 101. They have a pretty darn good website. And it's a rock and roll radio station, but their website is very newsworthy. And the stories are written well, and the grammar's good. And, it's most of it is just what's going on around here kind of stories, but they get a little political. But it amazes me how you got this radio station, and somebody at the radio station put together their website as kind of a news website, and the writing is really good. And then I go over and I look at something from Vox, and I'm not a grammar teacher, but I read through some of these stories. I'm like, oh my God, who edited this? Let alone who wrote it. Someone edited it, right? They have editors, right?
I think.
What were they thinking?
That's the thing. I just wonder if anybody really even has an editor position anymore. Because I've noticed with a lot of blogs anymore, they basically call the people that put out their everyday news stories editors. So it's almost like they're saying they're responsible for editing their own content. And I'm kind of wondering, since everybody's kind of moving to an online format, if that's kind of what they're doing. But when I wrote and worked for Free Press OK, I was actually the chief editor. So if anybody else submitted anything, I went through it, made sure that it made sense, made sure that it was kind of in line with the whole flavor of the paper at the time. And, I'm not claiming to be, Pulitzer Prize winning or anything, but I'd say, but if I'm not comfortable putting my stuff out because I don't think it's good enough, but then we have actual people getting paid on news sites to put out drivel, I think at some point I just need to stop being so overly judgmental of myself. Because, that's my thing. I'll hear other people's shows and be like, oh my God, those shows are amazing. I don't know why mine's not that good. And then other people listen. Same people that I'm fawning over their show listen to mine, and they're like, dude, your show's 1,000,000 times better than mine. I'm like, what the hell are you smoking? Are we listening to the same show? Just asking. But yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm my own worst critic. You and I both have friends that do some writing and put some stuff out. And obviously, occasionally there's going to be a grammatical error or a spelling error or something. there is kind of a race to get stuff out there these days, but I expect it when I read online articles. I expect there's going to be a spelling error or a little grammatical error or something like that. But some of these articles I read, I'm just like, is a sixth grader writing this?
I think you're giving them
Honestly.
a few grades too high up. Just saying.
It's awful.
But yeah, I don't know. Kind of random thought of the day. If you work for a news site, make sure they have a decent editor. Just saying. But then again, I know people that are like professional editors, and some of the stuff they tell me to do, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. So just keep in mind there is sometimes a big difference between somebody that edits like a full-length novel versus edits a newspaper piece, because they're not the same thing. I've had people offer to edit my stuff, and I'm like, that won't work for what we're doing here, but thank you. So anyway.
Oh yeah, and I get that too. And there's when you're dealing with newspaper, when you're dealing with print or even online, yeah, there's an urgency to get stuff out. I understand that the editing isn't going to be perfect on the grammar, but some of the stuff I'm like, okay, even if an editor didn't touch this, what was the writer thinking? They write for a living. It should be a little bit better than this.
All right. I have not had a chance to vet this, so keep in mind I'm not sure what we're about to hear. But I want to play this. It's a bit long. This is actually apparently an interview from a Border Patrol agent. There's a story coming out that's kind of creepy. So let's give this a listen real quick. Hang on.
These kids are being trafficked through multiple countries and put through terrible conditions. You know, if we don't do something to stop this, if we don't make a stand on the border security and immigration problem right now, there's going to be more of these kids that are going to be subjected to some serious harm.
We've had over 550 fraudulent families that we've detected in Yuma, and we know we've missed many, many more simply because we're overwhelmed with the sheer numbers. And so those are kids that are being rented, for lack of a better word, to an adult to form a fraudulent family unit so that they can be released in the United States, and then that child be recycled back to its country of origin, usually Guatemala, in our case here in Yuma.
Really, if you think about it, it's human trafficking. There's probably more cases like that happening across all 9 southwest border sectors on any given day. You can walk through any of our processing centers and you can see that there are potentially parents or adults with children that there may not be a familial relationship. We're trying to identify those cases. We're trying to take some biographical information from both the adult and some of the children, so we can make sure that people are traveling with who they say they should be traveling with.
We've started as a pilot program where we call it U14, so it just means under 14, where we can collect biometric data from a child under 14. Typically by regulation we don't do that, but we can do that if we get permission from the adult that they're with. We also have in the Border Patrol a rapid DNA pilot program that is starting as well, but that's a very expensive program. It's very limited in scope right now. So what we're relying on are fingerprints and photographs right now, and interviews that agents do of the kids. But the problem is when we have 1,000 people, 1,100 people in custody, really our goal is to get those people processed, because we have timelines, time in custody limits, where we need to move those people out of our custody.
So yeah, that was actually an interview that was put together of some Customs and Border Patrol agents. I want to bring one particular piece of that back to your attention. They said children were basically being rented to formulate family units and then being recycled back to the countries they came from once the people that were trying to get into the country had access to the country. You tell me we do not have an immigration problem in this country.
We do, and they the left will sit there and scream about children being caged, quote unquote caged. You go into these facilities and they are segregated. If it's questionable on whether a child is with their family or if the child comes across alone or whatever, what do they want the customs agents to do? Do they want to take those children and throw them in with the adults? It's not children in cages. The facilities just happen to be segregated with chain link fences. What is it? What they want is they just want everybody to come across free and just let them go. And it's the same people that 8 years ago were saying that we need to secure the border and we need to build a wall.
Yeah, but now it's
now they want them all in. Now they want them all in. They want them all in. They all want them all to vote.
But yeah, so here's the thing, and again, this is all because Orange Man bad. You know, we're back around to talking about Crystal and his ilk, because everything Trump has done is all the things that they beat a drum about, and maybe it wasn't their drum, for several years, and now they don't like it. So he's trying to do the same thing the left said they wanted to do under Obama, and actually passed a resolution to make sure that it happened under Obama. But then, you know, once they got the vote so it looked good on paper, they made sure it never got funded. So now Trump's actually trying to fund it. We don't need that. But I'm so over it, because I mean, there was just and I didn't really talk about it because I was on vacation during the time that it broke. So I really wasn't doing much radio for that couple of days. But there was this big news story. You know, folks like Chad Benson and a few other people were down at the border, and they were talking to folks that were there. And they were talking about, 1,100 is our maximum. And right now we've got like 4,000, 5,000 people here. So we're really at an emergency situation. And nobody from the media, save a few radio people that I know, were talking about it. You're still not hearing about it. They are flooding our borders like crazy, to the point, and Ron was nice enough to find me the article, because I wanted to make sure I brought this up tonight. There was a story that came out from the beginning of April where Mexican military came across our border and disarmed American soldiers, and then allowed people with firearms to escort other people across the border. If that's not an act of war, you can kiss my you-know-what.
Yeah, that is an act of war. And the problem we have here is if anybody pays attention to anything, I mean, there's caravan after caravan, and they call them caravans. They're caravans of 20,000 people marching this way to flood our borders. And it's treated like there's not a problem there. We're mistreating people. We're mistreating people because the whole push, there are organizations pushing to bring these people here. It's not just these people going, yeah, let's trek thousands of miles to go to the United States. It's funded. It's funded. These caravans are funded. With the first big one that came up here, they showed it, that there was no way they could have traveled the amount of space, the amount of land they traveled, without being put on buses or trucks or something and moved most of the way. But it was all these people walked all the way here. They didn't walk.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
It's all agenda. It's all agenda.
And that's exactly
it's what flood the borders, and then it looks like we're mistreating them at the borders. We're not mistreating them. We don't have the means to handle it other than put up a wall. I mean, I wasn't for the wall, but now I'm at the point, they complain, well, we don't have the money. Well, 2 to 3 days worth of funding the federal government will pay for the wall.
I mean, here's the thing with what Trump, because nobody's talking about it, but in a lot of ways, they're already slowly, quietly building the wall. Nobody's talking about it, but it's happening. But here's the thing. With the revisions Trump has made to the overall policy and the fact that a lot of it was actually already put in place and they already had it ready to go, they just didn't have the funding for it. We're not talking about nearly the amount of money that we were talking about before. And it's also not going to be a physical barrier across the whole southern border because there are places that are considered impassable where they won't need to put anything. So we're talking about very distinct, very select areas that were selected by Customs and Border Patrol agents that are saying, Mr. President, we admire what you're trying to do. We really don't need a 30-foot tall concrete wall. What we really could use is in this about 250, 275-mile section right here that's completely wide open. Let's put a physical barrier that is made of steel that has slats so that we can see who's coming from the other side on that section, because a lot of it's already been taken care of. And the thing that nobody talks about is in all the places where they have been putting the barriers and building the fences, they're seeing a drastic drop in the people that are coming through. And for everybody that says, well, because one of the things Donald Trump likes to point out all the time is this is a good way to help with drug trafficking, with fentanyl and all the other things that are coming across our border. And then you hear all these people over and over again, 90% of everything coming from out of the country is coming in through secure border points and we're finding it there. No, that's 90% of what we're finding. So imagine how much is coming through undetected in the open borders. Duh.
It's such a straw man argument because it's like, of course, what we're actually catching, we're catching where we can catch it. Duh. It's a straw man argument. It's the same kind of straw man argument you get from gun grabbers and everybody else. They point to the obvious and say, "See."
So yeah,
they're bringing it all through. They're bringing it all right here through the checkpoints. This is where they're bringing it all through because it's where we're catching it all. Dummies.
So here's my argument for the next time somebody brings this up, and this is hopefully in a way that they're going to understand it. First question you ask them is, "Do you fish?" The answer to that question is yes. And ask them, "Do you catch at least 90% of your fish where you drop your pole?" Same concept. Because there's plenty of other fish in the river, but they're not getting caught anywhere else because you're only putting that pole in the water.
Right.
Duh.
Right. And see, the way I look at it is they seize, $40 million worth of fentanyl at a border crossing. Okay? And they say, "See, they're bringing it across. They're bringing it across at our secure borders." Yeah, well, that one came across at the secure border, but that should show they brought that across at a secure point in the border, just being bold and thinking they could get it across. How much is coming across at the unsecured areas of the border? That they can't think that way because to them it's all about agenda. It's all about agenda. And their whole agenda is get as many people into this country that are going to vote for us so that we can pass all of our policies through people that shouldn't even have a right to vote. And screw the people that live here. I mean, I said something today. I have well, you obviously know, I have some Democrats in my family. My brother doesn't like Trump. You're never going to change his mind. But my brother can be pretty reasonable when you talk to him. But I do have Democrats in my family that really are not bothered by Trump at all. The media and social media really makes you think that everybody on the left hates Trump and wants him gone. That's not true. And I'm glad that we probably don't have that much listenership on the left, because I'm going to tell you right now, they're making a huge mistake with the people that they run. Because I can tell you who's not going to get the nod, and it's not going to be Biden. I mean, it's not going to be anybody in the least centrist. And that's a mistake, because I really do believe that there are a lot of Democrats out there that if Trump is running against somebody like Harris or Bernie or Liz, that they're not going to vote for them because they're really not displeased with where the country is right now. And these are all people that aren't involved in political social media like you and I are. They don't see all this mess.
Yeah, I mean, so, again, public service announcement, because a lot of people seem to think that it is. But, Twitter and Facebook are not real life. So just to give you a bit of a breakdown. So Facebook is, for a lot of people, what they wish their life was, because that's where family and friends can see them. And, they're like putting on their hashtag living my best life. Instagram is where everybody goes when they want to be a hoe, and Twitter's for anybody who wants to talk trash about anybody else but no regrets.
Pretty much. You just summed it up. I mean, Twitter's fun. It's fun. Twitter is
no,
you get the extreme on both sides. You get the extreme on both sides on Twitter.
Twitter was really fun. I've seen some big accounts that I know pretty well kind of walking away from Twitter. One of them put out a big tweet and then basically dropped the mic. It's like, I've had this same following account or follow count now for like 3 years. Hasn't moved at all. I'm out because nobody's listening anymore because my counts have all dropped. Twitter is finding new and creative ways to censor everybody. What I like is I think we have found a pretty good group of folks that have figured out how to beat the crap out of Twitter's algorithms, because we keep sneaking things by them until they figure it out. Like this is the furthest above 7,200 I've been able to stay in like a year. I'm at like 7,260 right now.
Here's the thing that kind of amazes me, and the person you mentioned, that tweet they put out was extremely derogatory to Jack Dorsey. And guess what? He hasn't been back on, but he may be in Twitmo. He may have to delete something, but they have not suspended his account, which amazes me.
I started seeing the message because on one of their last updates they said from now on, if we find something offensive, we're not just going to remove it. We're going to put a big sign up that says this tweet is no longer available so people can see that we took action. So I've seen a couple of those things on his timeline. I'm assuming those were the things that were directed at Jack. But anyway.
Probably, but they didn't suspend him, which surprised me because, boy, I've been suspended for way less than that.
Yeah, but you also managed to anger the trolls and they start coming at you in droves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well Stacy got locked today.
Yeah, that's because she picked the fight with, was it Wilson?
Bill Crystal.
Or was it Crystal?
No, she picked a fight with Bill Crystal.
Yeah, well.
Which I do all the time. So I haven't gotten the Crystal bots yet.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are punching high enough. She's got a pretty good follow count, so it probably got mirrored pretty well. What I thought was funny was somebody else I know actually got quote tweeted by Rick Wilson the other day, and I was like, "There's no way you knew that was there unless either somebody told you or you're searching your own damn name, you narcissist."
Yeah, I remember a few years ago he blocked me. And I made a big stink about it because we had followed each other for a long time. We had interacted a lot. And all of a sudden, I was unblocked, and he tweeted me, "Sorry, I don't even know what happened. I don't know. That must have been a Twitter thing." It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I get that a lot from people, but honestly, I've never had Twitter block somebody for me. I have had Twitter unfollow people for me. Like, the Log Cabin Republicans, that was an account that had followed me for years, and I'd followed them for years. I actually was thinking about them remember the other day when we were in the tweet thread with Crazy Gay Boy?
Yep.
And he had made a comment about there being no gay conservatives, and like, oh my God, somebody should alert the Log Cabin Republicans. I realized that I was no longer following that account, and they were no longer following me, but I never unfollowed them. So I followed them back.
Yeah, well,
and tried to get their
the
attention.
same thing happened to me with the Resurgent. Stacy writes for the Resurgent, so I retweet them a lot and everything else. All of a sudden, I was like, wow, I'm not following them anymore. They didn't follow me back, but I've always followed the Resurgent. Always have. And I posted something about it, and a bunch of our friends, mutual people that we know, were going, yeah, that's funny. I'm not following him anymore either. So it's almost like Twitter just said, the Resurgent's just getting too many followers. Let's just dump a bunch right here.
So here's my question. Because, Dorsey's making comments about, making it where people follow more, lines of conversation rather than people. So if that happens, does that mean our follow count and everything goes away and we have to start over? Because if it does, I'm going to be really pissed.
Pretty much, yeah. I think it basically, that's what kills me is, from what it sounds like, is, yeah, you just lose all your followers and everybody you follow, and you start fresh, which means that all of a sudden, I guess, all of you have to find all of your friends again, and they have to find you, and it sounds stupid.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be a fan if and when that happens. All right.
Yeah, and I mean, I posted something when that all went down. I said, Jack's just doing what he's best at, screwing up the brilliant idea he had.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Twitter's getting a lot like Microsoft, because, we're griping about Microsoft all the time because we use a Microsoft program to do the show because you're in one state and I'm in the other. And there hasn't been a 30-second window where I'm pulling up that particular program and it doesn't say, hey, there's a new update available. Why the hell does a program have to be updated every 30 seconds? It's like Facebook. I just updated Facebook on my phone yesterday. I just got an alert right now that Facebook wants to do another update.
Oh, and mine auto update. Facebook and Twitter, they auto update, and I'll just log on to either one and a given day, and I'm like, oh, this is new, and it happens like weekly.
No, see, I'm a control freak when it comes to my phone, and it's ancient, so it doesn't have very much memory space. So I have everything set up to where it auto prompts me to ask me if I want it to be updated. Because if there are certain things like Facebook and Messenger that if they update, sometimes I have to move things around for the update to go through. But so I'll leave things as not updated for as long as possible till they start crashing, and then I'm like, crap, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this update done. And then at that point, I usually just uninstall Facebook and then reinstall it, because then it gives me all the space back that I would have needed anyway. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I understand technology gives us the ability to do what we do, but the fact that they have now got people that basically have found a way to make sure they keep their jobs by making minor changes to programming every 30 seconds is really annoying. Speaking of 30 seconds, that's about how much time we have left. Why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the air hanging out with me, especially since you're not going to be here next week?
You can find me on Twitter at Thelonious Irish. Thelonious spelled like Thelonious Monk, but with Irish. And you can find me on Facebook. It's just Daniel Wright. Just look, you'll find my ugly mug there somewhere.
Yeah, well, you don't have much room to talk about an ugly mug because you don't have this.
Searching Facebook for somebody sucks.
You don't have this mug, so you can't really talk about an ugly mug. Just saying. All right, and if
at least a couple people like it.
Yeah, and if you, I'm not going to hit on you or anything, but you ain't ugly. So if you like what we're doing here, please follow along with the station. You can find the station on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Minds by searching at KLRN Radio. Give us a like, follow on your social media platform of choice. You can follow along with me on Mind, Instagram, and Twitter by following at RowdyRick73, and you can find me on Facebook by searching Rick Robinson. Look for the cartoon picture. Kind of looks like a cartoon of some guy claiming he's Times Person of the Year. No, I don't have a huge ego. It was just an easy way to make everything stand out because, actually, no. On Facebook, I think I'm using Loftus's nickname for me still. So look for the little kung fu looking guy holding the sword. That would be me. We're going to get out of here. I have some things I need to kind of take care of behind the scenes. So again, there will not be an Off the Rails tonight. We decided to extend this one last minute to kind of make up for the fact that Dan's bailing on me next week to go have fun and, go to the races and stuff without me, which makes me sad. No, not really.
No, I'll be. We've got a list of restaurants we want to hit in Raleigh, so that's where I'll be next Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. See, now I really don't want to talk to you. You're talking about trying new food stuff. All right, folks, we are going to get out of here. It has been our pleasure to be with you this Wednesday evening. We're halfway through the work week. Buckle up. Friday Eve is going to be here before you know it. So will the weekend. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow night for the double shot. First with Jen and Rick. Second, Off the Rails. Have a great night. God bless.